Okay, think about planning a trip. You find this, unique rental place online, looks amazing, full of character.
Right, something different from a standard hotel.
Exactly. But what happens when that unique experience, takes a turn? When the place you thought was a safe haven turns out to be hiding something really disturbing.
Today we're going to recount some pretty chilling real-life encounters. Stories from people staying in rental properties that went way beyond just a bad review.
Yeah, these are the kinds of stories that tap into that feeling of being vulnerable, especially when you're somewhere unfamiliar.
And these accounts, they come from a YouTube channel called Whisper Diaries. Real people sharing these experiences.
So we've picked 3 stories. Our goal here is just to tell them, try to capture that suspense, that fear they must have felt. Maybe make you think twice next time you book somewhere sight unseen.
Definitely. So where do we start?
Let's begin with this solo traveler. She was looking for a quiet getaway, ended up in a pretty rural, mountainous part of Colorado.
Okay, so isolation is part of the setup from the start.
Very much so. She arrives at night, and the town itself just felt off, kind of deserted. She even mentioned seeing these old wooden power lines that looked like they were barely standing.
Yeah.
It just added to this remote, maybe slightly decaying atmosphere.
Setting a bit of an uneasy mood even before she gets to the rental.
Right. The Airbnb itself was, a small house. It was in a cul-de-sac, only 4 other homes there. It looked fine,
Seemed normal enough on the surface.
But then the first weird thing happens. She's inside, looking out the window, and a car pulls up, parks right in front of the house next door.
Okay.
And then, nothing. Nobody gets out. The car just sits there, silent.
That's odd. Just sitting there. The kind of thing that puts you on edge, isn't it? That lack of expected action.
Totally. It made her uneasy, but, she eventually tried to brush it off. Later that night, though, she's in bed. She hears a car door open, then close, then footsteps.
Yeah.
Coming towards her Airbnb.
Oh, wow.
But they stop right before they get to the door.
Okay, that's definitely unnerving.
Yeah. But it gets worse. She wakes up again, later, middle of the night, and she just has this powerful feeling, like she's being watched.
Oh, that primal fear. Goosebumps.
And she looks towards this window that didn't have curtains, and she sees them. A pair of eyes. Just staring back at her from the darkness.
No, that's terrifying, being watched like that, in your bed.
The figure eventually moves away from the window, but she doesn't hear the footsteps leaving, not really.
What does she hear?
Heavy footsteps. Right outside her bedroom door.
Inside the house.
Inside. Then, suddenly, running. Down the hallway, out the front door, and then she hears a car speeding away.
So someone was inside. They broke in while she was asleep.
Seems like it. She gets up, finds the front door wide open.
Oh my God.
She called the police, reported it, but, nothing ever came of it. No follow-up.
Understandable.
Understandably, she packed up and left immediately. Didn't stay another second.
I wouldn't either. You're just left with these awful questions, aren't you? Who was it? What did they want? Why break in just to run?
Exactly. The violation of that space. It's deeply unsettling. Okay, let's move to the second story. This one's about someone just needing a place for one night.
Right, like a stopover on a long drive.
Yeah, exactly. A weary traveler picks a random Airbnb, just needs to sleep.
Simple enough. Or should be.
Should be. But the first thing they notice, a really strong, unpleasant smell inside the house.
Ugh. Never a good sign.
Especially bad in the bedroom. So bad, in fact, that the traveler decides, nope, I'm sleeping on the couch in the living room.
Can't blame them. But a bad smell is usually just a bad smell.
You'd think, but later they're trying to sleep on the couch and they hear this loud thump.
Like the house settling. Or something else.
Definitely something else. Seemed to come from inside the walls. And it wasn't just once, it happened multiple times. A significant repeated thumping noise.
Okay, that's moving into properly strange territory. Unexplained noises like that,
yeah,
they really get under your skin.
Yeah, and then the really awful part happens.
Yeah.
The traveler wakes up. There's a man standing right over them, just staring down.
Oh no, just standing there, looming over them while they slept.
Exactly. Silent, staring.
That is absolutely horrifying. To wake up to that, the vulnerability.
It's unimaginable. Thankfully, the moment the traveler wakes up and presumably reacts, the man just turns and sprints away, runs right out the front door.
Okay, so he fled. But
yeah,
where did he come from? The thumping.
Well, after the initial shock, the traveler notices something in the hallway. A folding ladder, pulled down, leading up into the attic.
So the thumping. He was up there. hiding in the attic.
That's the horrifying realization. Yeah, he'd been hiding in the attic the whole time.
Wow. Wow. So they call for help, obviously. Someone checks the attic. And there are signs that someone had been there recently. Not like long-term living, but definitely recent occupancy.
So the theory is what? Someone was using the Airbnb attic as like a temporary crash pad when it wasn't rented. That seems to be the idea. But imagine, the person whose house it is might not even know. And for the traveler, the what if? What if they hadn't woken up?
Yeah, that thought is chilling. It really makes you think about who else might have access or be present in these spaces we rent.
Definitely. Okay, one more story. This one involves a solo traveler again, this time in a cabin. Really secluded, deep in the woods.
The classic isolated cabin setup, always ripe for unease.
Right. They were staying there before meeting up with friends for a backpacking trip. Initially, they were actually happy about how remote it was. Total peace and quiet.
The appeal of solitude, until it's not appealing anymore.
Exactly. So the traveler goes out for a bit, scouts a nearby trail, comes back to the cabin. There's a truck parked there, an unfamiliar truck right in front of the cabin.
Okay, that's immediately weird in a secluded spot.
Yeah. Nobody's in the truck. Nobody's around it. The traveler checks the cabin door still locked.
So whoever belongs to the truck isn't obviously trying to get in, but
Right.
why are they there?
They contact the host, right. The host confirms. Nobody else should be there. No maintenance, no other guests, nothing.
So that just ramps up the anxiety.
Yeah.
You're isolated, there's an unexplained vehicle, and the owner confirms it's suspicious. You feel trapped.
Totally trapped. Night starts to fall. The truck is still there. Nobody's come back for it. The traveler decides, okay, this is too weird. I'm getting out of here. Starts packing.
Good call.
But while they're packing, they hear it. Footsteps coming up onto the porch towards the front door.
Oh, here we go, the confrontation moment.
But it's strange. The traveler looks towards the door. There's a tall man standing on the doorstep.
Okay.
But he's not facing the door. He's facing away from it. Just standing there, completely still, looking out towards the truck.
That's incredibly eerie. Not trying to knock, not looking in, just standing there, facing out.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It's super unsettling. The traveler tries to back away quietly, grab their phone to call 911.
Makes sense.
But then a floorboard creaks loudly. The sound alerts the man. He whips around instantly, grabs the doorknob, and starts shaking it violently, trying to force his way in.
Wow. From eerie stillness to sudden aggressive action. That's terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. The traveler manages to run into the bedroom, lock the door, and calls 911.
Okay, good. Safe, relatively.
As they're on the phone, they hear the man run off the porch. Then they hear the truck start up and drive away quickly.
He fled before the police could arrive.
Yeah. Police get there, check the area, but he's gone. Truck's gone.
And you're left with that truly horrifying thought. If he wasn't in the truck when the traveler first saw it, where was he?
Exactly. Was he hiding in the woods, watching the cabin, watching the traveler the whole time they were out hiking? It's just awful not knowing.
These stories, they all share that thread, don't they? The unexpected violation of what should be a safe private space. The intrusion of fear into ordinary travel.
And it really hits home that these aren't just campfire tales. These happen to real people just trying to find a place to stay for a short time. It does make you reconsider things.
It does. You think about how much we rely on these shared spaces now, these platforms.
Yeah, and how do you balance wanting those unique local experiences with the potential for risks you just can't anticipate? What little signs might seem insignificant at the time?
It's a difficult balance. I think it really underscores the importance of trusting your gut feelings. If something feels off, maybe it is. Be aware of your surroundings.
Absolutely. Even when you're supposed to be relaxing, right? A stark reminder from these accounts. Well, that wraps up our recounting of these unsettling rental stories for today. We hope they gave you maybe something to think about.
Stay safe out there.
And if you found these stories as gripping and, frankly, as chilling as we did, please do give us a like, share this with someone who might appreciate it, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs. Thanks for listening.